So, I want to talk about the world's first race for Salvation's Edge just for a quick second, not too much. I was kind of busy for most of the race. The most of the time that I was able to watch was like the fourth encounter, the White Room. Uh, so yeah, this isn't speaking from like the deepest knowledge. This isn't a world's first raider here, okay? I was busy. But I just want to talk about like my experience watching it, observing it. First of all, good job Bungie on making a raid that took longer than Last Wish, purely based on the mechanics and the difficulty of the raid. Unlike Last Wish, where yes, difficult mechanics, a lot to learn on the fly, and Last Wish has a lot of encounters, but a big part of the reason it lasted nearly 19 hours was the fact that the power differential between Last Wish Day 1 and Salvation's Edge Day 1, much larger actually, Contest mode, big difference. The Last Wish Day 1 was pretty fucking rough for a lot of players because there just wasn't enough time to get power up, and in Forsaken it was harder to get that power up compared to Final Shape. So there's that. Also, the exotic looks like it slaps, It looks like there's some fun builds you could do with it. It would have been a lot better last season than this season. Honestly, if they made an exotic that did the dealing damage to an unraveled enemy mixed threadlings, if they made that like an exotic or something, I could see myself potentially using it. Or like a fragment and it like reduces your resilience or discipline or something. I could see myself slapping that on depending on the build. So, yeah, that exotic's pretty good, and it could be crazy if Bungie lets it be, and that would be really sick if it was. But yeah, what else to talk about Salvation's Edge other than it being like the longest raid race ever and it being a good raid too, like generally. Crazy bow, everyone. Sniper, goofy. There's a lot of cool loot from the raid, including another waveframe sword. There's 2 or 3 now, technically, I think. But, let's talk about the world's first race more specifically rather than the raid itself, which, again, good job, Bungie. Keep it up. Raid should be maybe not held to that exact standard, but, at least vow the disciple level where it's taken like 8 hours for world's first. But talking about world's first and the Twitch rivals stuff and all that, in the future, Bungie, I would love it if you made it. I could see where this would become an issue, but I think it's already a rule that you have to live stream your completion for world's first. But if you made it, say, the 50% of your screen has to be unobstructed so that people could still hide buffs and debuffs that could, give away encounter mechanics, they can still do that. But you're preventing people from fully blacking out their screen. And I'm not saying, well, they shouldn't have done it. Because, I get it. There's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of bragging rights. There's a lot of stuff that goes into why you would black out your screen for World's First. And I totally get it. It's completely understandable why people would do that. But, as a viewer, you have to stream hop to someone that is probably further behind instead of watching first place, which can harm the viewing experience. I watched mostly on YouTube. I watched CB Gray's stream. He does Raid Zone with Evan F, and they kind of keep up with the top 5 teams pretty much, just to see where everyone's at and how everyone's doing, learning the encounters as we go, giving people tips for their own completions. And it's a lot of fun. Next world's first race, whenever that'll be, I would highly suggest you go watch on YouTube CB Gray stream or Evan F stream on Twitch if you prefer Twitch, because those two are really fun to watch with Raid Zone. Just quick shout out there, I guess, for 2 channels much larger than mine. But even watching their stream is just like, come on, they're watching a black screen. There's nothing going on. It's as a viewer, it's a little more tough. And if there's no rule against it, so why not do it? But if Bungie was like, hey, this world's first race, we require anyone participating to while they now if they're strategizing, they black out their screen. Cut. I don't think there's any problem with cutting audio, especially your voice channel audio during world's first race. So you don't have to give your strategies away. But like, I'm mainly talking about visual gameplay. I don't think that should be stripped away. It hurts the viewer's experience. I'm not saying like, I understand the competitive edge it gives and how it helps with that. But part of this is the viewer experience, and I think it also, kind of a comeback mechanic. A team that, like Dado's position was, he was, I think, in the second encounter when Elysium reached the fourth, but they finally caught up and they got through the fourth encounter before Elysium did. They were the second to the witness, I believe. Math class was. So, those big comeback moments would be more possible and more exciting if everyone was forced to share most of their screen. They could still block buffs and debuffs so that, people are just having to they could make very educated guesses on what they need to do in an encounter, but they're not, giving it away. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people are like, well, they shouldn't obstruct or blur anything on the screen. I don't fully get back with that, but I understand it from the viewer's perspective where it could be an issue, but, I'm not going to be like, well, they shouldn't do it. They shouldn't have done it at all. A lot of reasons why they did, and it's fully understandable. The money, bragging rights, everything about it, I get it. That raid belt is pretty sick. So blacking out your screen for a belt and bragging rights alone, I get that, okay? So don't harass anyone that did black out their screen. You could have always just gone to a different stream, or, I really don't have another response for that, but yeah, I get it. It's rough as a viewer, and maybe Bungie should step in and say, hey, while you're running the encounter itself, you should have this much of your screen open to gameplay. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the world's first race. Congrats, Parabellum. I forgot to say that earlier. I almost forgot to say it in this whole video, but congratulations, Parabellum. If you don't know Parabellum, they got, I think, third place for Crota's End reprise, and they ended up getting world's first for Salvation's Edge, so huge round of applause. That marathon of a raid was completed by some mad lads, and then we all got to join in on the 12-man mission to defeat the Witness once and for all. So, congrats, and yeah. Anyways, I'm done yapping. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that garbage, and I'll see you next time.